Ayo, peace, love. Usually don't try to film in a car like this. I usually try to be out in nature for the vibes, for the ambiance. So sorry for the dull background, but we still got the good information to give you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for your time. And we're going to get right into it. Protecting your energy. When we talk about protecting our energy, we got to understand that there's a difference between your physical energy or your matter body, your emotional energy, your emotional body, and your mental energy or your mental body. Now, all these parts of your being or your three bodies do all play a part and affect one another interconnectedly. But a lot of times when people are trying to focus on protecting their mental energy or protecting their emotional energy, they're using the parts of their brain that they would want to be using to protect their physical body or their matter body. Now, it'll help to separate the hemispheres of your brain. We have a left brain and we have a right brain. The left side of your brain is focused on logic, reasoning, and details. It's detail oriented. This part of your brain helps you focus on your environment, and it works in patterns that help you perform day-to-day tasks without really having to think about it. Like, you don't really have to think about how to breathe or walk or write or chew your food, because all that is stored in your left brain is survival patterns based on helping your matter body survive here in the 3D. The right side of your brain has to do with awareness, consciousness, creativity, more deals with gathering new information and creating new patterns, because we have to do those things consciously. So right brain is more like consciousness and awareness. Just like the three bodies, matter, mental, emotional, these two parts of the brain kind of play into each other and affect each other back and forth as well. So you here now, you watching YouTube. Hopefully your life isn't in danger right now. You survived. You know what I'm saying? So right now, hopefully you're pretty present with me. You're using your right brain to help, be aware of what I'm saying, to feel what I'm saying. Basically, in this video, we're not focused on keeping your physical body alive, because most of the times we don't really have control over that, and that's going to happen automatically. That's just a part of human nature. We focused on protecting our mental and our emotional energy. Or in like a simple way, we trying to use our right brains to reprogram our left brains. And in that way, it's going to help us reprogram our emotional reactivity and our mental reactivity, and overall improve your physical and spiritual health as well. So when I say that most people are trying to protect their emotional and mental energy with the part of your brain, your left brain, that protects your physical body, most people, when they're on alert trying to protect themselves from certain thoughts and emotions, they're identifying the outside for a threat. And this is total left brain activity. If you want to heal your mental and your emotional bodies, then you got to go within and do work within to build strength in these areas. Not only build strength in these areas, but just identify your emotions and your thoughts and be able to separate them from that fight or flight, that left brain mode. And healing these parts of ourselves takes practice, is not done quick, fast. You know, it's a journey. So you're going to have to be patient with yourself, and you're going to have to be non-judgmental when you are trying to isolate your emotions and your thoughts. You can't attach to the things you're observing with your right brain, and you can't react to them, because that's just going to further ingrain that fight or flight loop that's going on in the left brain. One of the best ways to practice this is when you out in the world, out in the environment, school, work, with your friends, whatever it may be, at the grocery store. Identify what your left brain is making judgments about your environment. In other words, identify your triggers. Our triggers are everywhere. It's just when we identify an emotion inside of us and attach it to something in our external environment. Now, I'm not saying that your left brain isn't useful. Your left brain is useful and it will save your ass, but there's a difference in how you need to protect your emotions that come from within, your thoughts that come from within, and how you need to protect your physical body. It's a difference between your left brain coming online and making you alert, and you slam on your brakes or swerve to avoid getting in a car accident. A lot of times you notice, like before, if you've ever been close to getting a car accident or had a close call, it's not like you were afraid. If you get really afraid and freeze up, usually that's when the accidents happen, right? But a lot of times when you get triggered by your left brain to really be there and like slam on your brakes or swerve the steering wheel, it really makes you alert. It's not something that emotions are even attached to it. It just makes you present and it makes you alert so you can keep your body alive. Now, it's a difference between being made alert and present by your left brain and say somebody cuts you off in traffic, or somebody's trying to race with you in traffic, or someone's blocking traffic, and there's things and people out there that you don't have any control over, and it doesn't really present physical harm to you. You know what I'm saying? That's where the fear comes up, because maybe it could, we're driving, but if there's nothing you can change here and now to make yourself safer, and you angry at this person, you frustrated at this person, you holding on to emotions in here, there's a big difference in what's going on in your internal environment. And the practice is really observing what's coming up without judgment. Why am I angry? Why am I frustrated at this person or at this thing that isn't causing me physical harm, that I have no control over, that I cannot change? You know, why am I attaching emotions to this situation? And in that space that you're holding, to be able to hold those emotions and ask yourself why, it's important that you don't judge and you don't get attached to what comes up. You just hold space for it. And by holding space for these things, you'll start to see where you're giving your energy away, where you're giving your power away, because it takes energy to attach these emotions to things and have these thoughts, you know, and be in fight or flight mode when we really just trying to protect ourselves from our own emotions. You know, that takes energy. And a lot of times you giving your power, you giving your energy away to something in your environment that you really can't control. It has nothing to do with you. And it's easier said than done, but practice makes perfect. You practice, you know, and eventually you will start to have a new type of self-control, to where you just observe the trigger. And once you realize, you know, these things I have no control over, using this energy here really doesn't serve me. This energy is better used in a different way to better myself. That's when the real energy protection, energy building, self-development, that's when that stuff can start to take place. Another great way, great way to practice this is observing your self-talk. Watch the way you talk to yourself, not by judging it, but when you have these thoughts in your head, when you have in your daily, like that self-talk, give the right brain space to hold these thoughts without judgment and just put a little light on them. When the emotions try to attach themselves to the thoughts that you're having and you start to judge yourself, step back, give yourself a little bit of space, give yourself a little bit of love, and just ask why. Why am I judging myself in this way? You know what I'm saying? It can be good or bad ways you judging yourself, but just step back and be like, why? Why am I judging myself this way? And just like you will detach the emotions that you're attaching to the external world, you'll start to detach the emotions you're having about your self-talk and your self-judgments, because that takes energy too. So you'll stop being so self-judgmental, and you'll start to have a better sense of self, and you'll have more energy to actually take care of yourself. One other practice, you can practice this through meditation. And actually, while you're meditating and you're focusing on your breath, taking awareness from the self-talk, taking awareness from the head and bringing it to the body. We have emotional energy bodies. I'm sweating like a mug in this car, I'm sorry. We have emotional energy bodies in our stomach, up through our heart. That's where your emotions are processed within the body, because emotions are energy. Doesn't just vibrate up here, it vibrates through the body. That's why we have gut feelings. That's why we feel our hearts. That's why there's heartbreak. We have an emotional body, and emotions are stored within the physical body. So when you meditate, if you bring awareness to this emotional body that's within you, you can identify feelings you've been holding on to, energy you've been holding on to, and you might not be able to give words to it at first, but just give those feelings, those blockages, the space to be there and hold them without judgment, without trying to force them. And they'll start to reveal themselves to you. You'll start to identify, oh, that's shame. Oh, that's guilt. That's fear. That's this, you know what I'm saying? And you'll be able to let go what emotions aren't serving your emotional body. And now once you address your emotional and your mental bodies, and you separated their safety from your physical safety, now you have a more actualized sense of self. You have a realer sense of who your spirit is. You have you have more confidence just in who you are as a human. And with that more empowered sense of self, you no longer gonna be reacting to things in your environment that you can't control. You know what I'm saying? Things you can't control in the here and the now. You're gonna start to let go of thoughts and emotions that don't serve the vibration that you wanna be on. And once you have that more empowered sense of self, once you are more inspired to be on a certain vibration, whatever vibration that resonates with you, now you're going to start to set healthy boundaries with people and with yourself, more importantly. Self boundaries are key. You're going to start to be more observant of how your physical, mental, and emotional bodies all tie together to make you the spiritual, the holistic being that is you. And once you get that perspective and you see how all three bodies kind of work together, you start to take care of all three because they all blend into each other. And that's really where the self boundaries come into play. Having strong boundaries with yourself is essential for self-care. Self boundaries I had to set with myself once I realized that my physical body affects my emotions and my mentals was I started eating differently. I started exercising. I started meditating more. I started focusing on my breath because I knew that these things were interconnected in the way I thought and also my emotions. For my mental boundaries, I started listening to different music and watching different media because I noticed they were affecting the thoughts I had that would make me feel different physically and emotionally. I paid more attention to my thoughts, and thoughts come in and out. None of us really have control of the thoughts we have. They're totally dependent on an environment that we're in that we don't have control over. But I focused on the way I was judging these thoughts. So those mental boundaries help you protect yourself from yourself when you're judging your own self-talk and you judging your thoughts. And I was more sensitive to the collective mental space that I was in, the mental space of people that were around me. So if I didn't like the mental space of people that were around me, I would set boundaries by limiting my time with them, not being around them, or telling them honestly how their mental space made me feel, and opening up that conversation. And that's definitely an important thing. And setting boundaries with people should never be scary, because it's a part of self-love. And if you aren't loving yourself and you're conscious of this but aren't doing anything about it, you really also hurting that other person, and that energy leaks. So you hurting other people in your life as well. And I also had to learn how to set emotional boundaries with myself. I had to realize what my emotional needs were and how they were being met. Everyone was born with parents that were doing the best they could, but not everyone's parents could meet all their emotional needs. So we a lot of times adopt unhealthy ways of coping with this, and we learn to get our needs met in ways that don't really serve our overall health. So setting good emotional boundaries with yourself is like being honest with yourself and being real with yourself on what are your emotional needs and how your emotional needs being met. Emotional boundaries I had to set for myself was realizing people, places, and things that I was emotionally attached to. Sometimes being emotionally attached to a person, place, or thing is unhealthy because you put in that, positive or negative, you put in that outside of yourself, and it creates a distortion to where it's harder to self-actualize. It's harder to meet your emotional needs and to identify with your emotions and where they come from. And I had to be more observant of the emotional space of others. I had to see what emotional energy that I had and that I would prefer to have around me and I wouldn't prefer to have around me. And I had to limit my time with people. I had to limit people from having access to me, or I had to tell people honestly how their emotional space was affecting my emotional space. And that can be a very hard thing to do, but never do it in a judgmental way. Never talk about good and bad. You know what I'm saying? You really just need to be open and honest from the work you've done within. This affects me because this has nothing bad about me or you, nothing good about me or you, but it is what it is, and I need this space to heal. And if that person respects you, then they're going to respect that boundary. So practice taking care of your entire being, your physical, your mental, and your emotional health. And that protection for your thoughts, for your mental energy, and for your emotion is just gonna happen from within. For real, it just happens. Like vibrations attract like vibrations. Vibrations that don't resonate with each other repel each other. Think about a lion and a gazelle. Lions and gazelles don't talk to each other. And when a gazelle is a football field away from the approaching lion, he can't hear him. He can't see him. He feels him because they energy fields have crossed with each other. We all have an energy field that is linked to our physical, emotional, and mental bodies. It's called the aura. We could talk about chakras and auras all day and how that plays a part in this, but if you're doing this work, you won't even have to worry about it because your aura is just going to attract things that bring you the same peace that you work to get within. So now you're going to have a peaceful mental and emotional environment outside of you, because now you're attracting like vibrations and you're repelling things that don't vibe with you. So before you do the work, you're attracting in things to trigger you, not in a bad way, but it's really just the universe's way of telling you what parts of yourself that you need to heal. And once you do the work and heal those parts of yourself, you're going to attract the same peace that you keep within, or excitement, or whatever chaos that you like to vibe with. Whatever you want in here, it will attract in your environment because you did the work and you earned it. And there will always be tests and there will always be triggers because we never done growing. But once you start doing the work, man, those tests and those triggers become more and more rewarding, and you don't see them as obstacles. You see them as opportunities for growth and opportunities for your overall well-being, your development. It shows where you can fortify your foundation a little bit. So that's the video. If you watch to the end, I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you for fucking with what I had to say, man. And I wish everybody safety of physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being. It's a lot of shit in the air in this day and age. It's a lot of vibes that are really testing who we are as humans on this earth right now. But there's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to get you down. It's all opportunities for growth, man. Peace. I love you. Stay up.